Yeah, I literally just yesterday I was watching this guy. He's a serial like entrepreneur at this point, but he's a comedian as well, and he's actually started his business as a door-to-door salesman and a comedian. So he had gone viral years ago, just like being relentless and super full of character when selling at somebody's door. And so he was reflecting with this other gentleman on like his most memorable experience as a door salesman. And he was talking about this individual that he encountered once. It was this lady that he, went and like he was with a group of his salespeople. He was teaching them how to like do things, showing them the rope essentially. And then they had knocked on this one door. The lady comes out and starts flipping out, get out of here, I'm gonna call the police, XYZ. And as soon as he spoke, that he had that humor, but not just the humor, apparently some faith in God or whatever. He had mentioned Jesus or a passage essentially in his in within the humor. She was taken back, apologized, asked for more details. Long story short, he makes his way inside of the house. She explained to him that like, oh, I apologize. I just got a really bad phone call right before you guys came. Then my son passed in a car accident. And so as he walks in and then, they're talking or whatever the case is, he sees that there's a gun on the table and she goes and explains to him like, had you not come here, I was gonna I was gonna kill myself essentially. And so he always reflects on that moment where he was able to like be relentless, be himself, and not give in to somebody's that first no right at the door and walk away and just keep pushing because he knew his intention, which was, I'm just here to like do good and show these guys a better way, because essentially the guys he was with were also from the street. They could have been on a corner or something, but instead he was trying to show them how to do something positive. And so that whole story to me resembles a lot of what you're saying right now. You know what I mean? Like, you got to approach it with some great good intention, but you also don't know what other people are going through, and what they're going through, if you put that on your shoulder and share part of that burden with them, then you could probably help them, make it a further way than if they were to try to do it by themselves or continue to do things by themselves. So that's very powerful that you mentioned that, and as I'm reflecting on that conversation he was having.
It's compassion,
Right.
but take it even a step further. Instead of him being scared away or instead of him being pulled in by her energy, he was just doing good.
Right.
She needed a laugh,
Yeah, for
and she
sure.
got one.
Yeah.
And miracles happen the way they happen.
Yeah.
It's even further, even when he saw the situation, he didn't leave. He actually had the right heart and the right disposition of a heart and the great character to stay there and have a conversation with her and to listen to her and to understand her and to see where she's coming from and where she's at in her life, to be able to walk her off the ledge.
Right.
Because emotions are powerful. If you're not, aware of your emotions are gonna fire up your thoughts, and if you're going to an unconscious state, you don't even realize what you're doing. Because once we get into that survival mode of ourselves, where the wrong part of our brain takes over, we're not making rational decisions anymore. Everything's irrational. Everything's illogical. It's like there's a fog.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important to be calm in decision making. It's very important to be calm when you're gonna go and you make decisions that are gonna affect your life in the long run. But not enough people really understand that. They use their emotion and all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Yeah.
but that doesn't work.
Yeah.
With that gentleman, he was being himself. He was a comedian. When you said perseverance, relentless, it just that's that to his craft. So it doesn't matter where he does it. Doesn't matter where's the audience. It doesn't matter where the crowd is. If that's the thing he's always working on, he's gonna be great at it.
Right.
We all have a gift to share in life as long as we work on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. As I sit here and reflect on this conversation, I just want to thank you because, you brought to the forefront of my attention at this point that, like, although in the moment I didn't speak to my son about, the passing of his fish and stuff like that, and anytime that it was brought up throughout that week, it was kind of like I let him take control of the situation, as far as like, oh no, I don't, let's not, he didn't want to talk about it. Oh, don't talk about Bone, don't talk about Bone, XYZ. But now, as I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting on that, I just want to thank you, because you're allowing me to realize that at some point, sooner than later, I definitely have to sit with him and talk to him and help walk him through those emotions and help him understand, like, hey, that's the reality of the world that we live in. It's going to happen. Don't run away from it. You know what I mean? Because I'm setting him up for failure by allowing him to think that, okay, we're just not going to talk about it. You know what I mean? And so that's a big takeaway for me out of this conversation, amongst everything else that we haven't touched on and that we did touch on. So, Juan, I just want to thank you. We are what we believe.